I pretended not to recognize my parents when they tried to reconnect. So this whole thing starts when I'm 6 years old. My older sister gets really sick with some autoimmune thing that basically makes her need constant care. Instead of figuring it out like normal parents would, mine just decided I was too much work on top of everything else. One day they're like, hey, you're gonna visit grandma for a bit, and literally just never came back for me. No explanation, no, this is temporary, nothing. Just dropped me off like I was a library book they forgot to return. My Uncle Jake and Aunt Linda ended up taking me in because my grandparents were getting too old to handle a kid full time. At first I kept asking when Mom and Dad were coming back, but after a few months everyone had to sit me down and explain that they probably weren't. My uncle was so pissed he couldn't even talk about it without getting red in the face. My aunt just hugged me and said sometimes parents make really stupid decisions and it's not the kid's fault. The weird thing is, it actually worked out better. My uncle and aunt couldn't have kids of their own, so they treated me like I was this amazing gift that just showed up. They came to every school play, helped with homework, taught me to drive, all that stuff. They always joked that the stork just got confused and delivered me to the wrong house first. When I turned 18, they officially adopted me. We would have done it earlier, but apparently there was all this legal stuff that would have cost like $15,000. I saw my bio parents maybe 5 times over the next 15 years. Always awkward encounters at family stuff where they'd try to act like everything was normal. By the time I was 12, I realized I was the only one making any effort to maintain contact, so I just stopped. They never reached out after that. Not for birthdays, not for graduation, nothing. Then last December, my sister died. Some complication with her condition right between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I drove back from college for the funeral but stayed in the very back row and slipped out before anyone could corner me. My uncle said they called asking to talk to me, but I told him I wasn't interested. Christmas Eve, I'm at midnight mass with my grandma like we do every year. We're walking out after the service when suddenly these 2 people appear in front of me. The woman goes in for a hug and I instinctively step back. Sorry, do I know you? I asked, even though I totally recognized them. The man looked older, more tired. The woman had the same nervous laugh she always had. We're your parents, the woman said, like that explained everything. I looked at them for a second, then shrugged. My parents are at home watching Die Hard and probably falling asleep on the couch. They both just stood there with their mouths open. My grandma grabbed my arm and we kept walking, but I could feel them following us. The man caught up and walked beside me. You really don't recognize us? He asked. I stopped and looked at him like I was trying to remember. Oh wait, are you my dad's brother? I think I remember you from when I was little. You used to visit sometimes. The woman started crying right there in the parking lot. My grandma squeezed my hand and whispered, "Good for you," under her breath. The next day, this massive letter shows up at my uncle's house. 4 pages of them explaining how hurt they were, how they were just trying to do what was best for everyone, how they'll always be my real parents no matter what paperwork says. They wanted me to understand their grief, their difficult choices, blah blah blah. My uncle read it first and just threw it on the kitchen counter. Bunch of guilt trip garbage, he said. My aunt picked it up, read the first page, and tossed it in the trash. Some people think having kids means you can just opt out when it gets hard. Some of my other relatives heard about what happened and think I was being cruel since they just lost their daughter. But here's the thing, they didn't just lose a daughter. They chose to lose a son 15 years ago. They don't get to show up now expecting me to pretend like that never happened just because their other kid is gone and they're lonely. My grandma put it best when she said, they made their bed when that boy was 6 years old. Now they can lie in it. The funniest part is they actually tried to friend me on Facebook a few weeks later. I just blocked them. My uncle saw their friend requests on my phone and started laughing so hard he choked on his coffee. What kind of people abandon their kid then try to slide into their DMs 15 years later, he said. I ended up changing my number and making my social media private because they kept trying different ways to contact me.